second topic that we are having today is Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. Again, a topic from polity and a very important one. Why has it has been news? The first important thing is Cabinet has approved rupees 5,911 crore for the extension of Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan till 2025-26. ठीक है, तो government, this is the concerned minister Anurag Thakur, the government has extended the Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan, which was launched in 2018 to 26. It was initially launched for 4 years from 2018 to 2022. Now government has extended this from 2022 to 2026. We'll be looking at what this scheme is, what are the constitutional provisions related to the very fundamental thing that comes to our mind listening to this Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. So Gram Swaraj, the idea of Gram Swaraj was given by none other than Mahatma Gandhi. ठीक है, महात्मा Gandhi. Gram Swaraj means the village being an independent economic, political and financial unit. That what was the idea behind Gram Swaraj? The idea behind Gram Swaraj was the village being an independent financial, economic and political unit. Mind it, financial and economic are two different terms. They are not one and same. Okay, they are not one and same. There are two different terms. What is financial and the other is economic. So Gram Swaraj का basic जो motto था, that was given by Mahatma Gandhi, and to materialize that kind of it is also a DPSP to enable villages to function as the units of governance basically. ठीक है, तो we'll be looking at the evolution of the scheme and about the scheme. The first important thing whenever we are reading about any scheme is what ministry is the nodal ministry for that scheme. For this scheme, it is the Ministry of Panchayatiraj. Okay. Whenever we talk of Ministry of Panchayatiraj, what comes to our mind? What comes to our mind? Being an aspirant, whenever you listen to Ministry of Panchayatiraj, two things should come to your mind at the first place. The first one is 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act 1992 and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act 1992. ठीक है, तो 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, what did it do? It provide for Panchayati Raj institutions. Panchayati Raj institutions, PRIs. ठीक है. Then what did 74th Constitutional Amendment do? It provided for the municipalities in India. It provided for municipalities. 73rd provided for panchayats, 74th for municipalities. And among other things, it also 73rd also provided for the establishment of State Election Commission, State Finance Commission and all these things that we are going to look into in a while. ठीक है, तो ministry, the nodal ministry for this scheme, state Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan, is Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Now the second thing that should come into us whenever we are discussing about a scheme is whether it is a centrally sponsored scheme or whether it is a central sector scheme. ठीक है, तो centrally sponsored scheme basically वो schemes होती हैं which are basically under the state list or under the concurrent list. ठीक है, but union government wants the states to implement these. ठीक है, like panchayats. ठीक है, any scheme, for example some health based scheme. ठीक है, ICDS, integrated child development scheme, या any such health is basically under the state list. ठीक है, तो education is under concurrent list. ठीक है, तो but if the union government wants some kind of scheme to be run for all the states, it will go into the concurrent list or state list and look what topic it wants the states to discuss, and then they will formulate a scheme where participation of center and the states both is considered. ठीक है. तो this is Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan is a centrally sponsored scheme. That means both state and center have a share of expenditure or a share in formulating the scheme. ठीक है. तो centrally sponsored scheme launched in 2018 initially for 4 years up to 2022. Now we are in 2022. The scheme has been extended to 2026. तो स्टेट और सेंटर की फंडिंग का ये है कि 60:40 रेशियो फॉर द स्टेट्स, where 60% will be contributed by the central government and 40% will be contributed by the state governments. For northeast and hilly states, it is 90:10, मतलब 90% of the expenditure will be taken care of by central government and 10% of the expenditure will be taken care of by state government. And for union territories, it is 100% by state central government. ठीक है. So this is the funding pattern. Now what is the aim and what are the goals of this scheme? So we understand that although 73rd and 74th Amendment Act gave constitutional recognition to panchayatiraj institutions, but what happened was all these institutions were these all states formulated their own laws and structure for formulation of their own panchayatiraj institutions. ठीक है. One of the very important consideration under 73rd and 74th Amendment Act was the voluntary and the compulsory provisions. What? Voluntary and compulsory provisions. So compulsory provisions, some of compulsory provisions. So there were two kind of provisions in this act, this Amendment Act, voluntary and compulsory. ठीक है. तो ग्राम स्वराज का मीनिंग है इंडिपेंडेंट, सेल्फ डिपेंडेंट और इंडिपेंडेंट पॉलिटिकल एंड इकोनॉमिक यूनिट्स. बट इन वॉलंटरी प्रोविजंस, what are these voluntary and compulsory provisions at the first place? The 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act provided that states can form their own laws for operating the panchayati raj institutions within their own boundaries. मतलब every state can form its own like a structure of governance, the third tier of governance that is suited to itself. Like UP can form its own law governing what? The panchayati raj institutions, subject to certain compulsory conditions and certain voluntary conditions. Now voluntary conditions में बहुत important point एक ये है कि states can give power of taxation. Okay, power of taxation is a voluntary provision. Okay, मतलब state can empower and it cannot empower also. मतलब it is not necessary for a state to allow or to enable the panchayati raj institutions to impose taxations, fees and levies. It is a voluntary provision. Okay. The second point was devolution of power. Devolution of power of preparing development plan. Okay, development plan. That is, it can also devolve the power of making a plan for development. Okay, since our economy was a planned economy. Take a national plan, 5-year plans. Similarly, the panchayati raj institutions could also be provided with power to make a plan for their own development. Okay, so prepare plan for economic development, of course development plan and social justice. These are very good provisions, but they are not compulsory for the states to follow. Okay? They are only voluntary in nature. What were the compulsory provisions we will look at? One of the important compulsory provisions were formation of State Finance Commission every 5 years. Every 5 years, okay, to look into the financial conditions of panchayati raj institutions. State Finance Commission like every state has a state finance commission, similarly our country has a national finance commission under article 280 as well. ठीक है, तो finance commission, what finance commission at national level, what it does, it recommends to the president, ठीक है, the what kind of the principles of devolution of the divisible pool, the money from the divisible pool, ठीक है, the tax and non tax revenue, उसमें से जो divisible pool form होता है, divisible pool मतलब net money that the government has, how much, what principle should be followed by the central government to devolve money to the states and other miscellaneous works as well. ठीक है, तो similarly state finance commission should also be formed to look into the financial health of the what panchayatiraj institutions and municipalities as well. The second compulsory provision was formation of state election commission. ठीक है, these election commissions will be conducting elections within the state for the membership of or for the what gram panchayat, municipalities and all these. ठीक है, तो election commission does not conduct election for local bodies. Local body elections are conducted by state election commissions. And the third important point that we are going to look into is provision for reservation. Means any state that is forming its own law regarding the governing of local bodies, they must provide for a provision for the reservation. अब reservation में कौन सा provision है? The first one is 33% या 1/3 reservation for women at all levels. ठीक है, and SC/ST communities का in proportion to population. ठीक है, मतलब these provisions has to be compulsorily embedded into the state law that the state is forming for the governance of local bodies. Okay, but these powers, the power of taxation, this power represents the financial independence of the local body or panchayat. How? If it does not has power of taxation or if it does not has power to raise revenue on its own, then it is not financially independent. It has to take help from the state government or the central government. ठीक है, why central government I'm saying? Because the finance commission also recommends devolution to local bodies. It's a very important point. It can be formed, a very tricky question can be formed from this in prelims, that finance commission under article 280, which is, it can also be used, it can also recommend, it also basically recommends the devolution of money to the local bodies as well. ठीक है, and development of preparing plan. ठीक है, why this important? Why is this important? Because for enabling participative governance. ठीक है, why was the third level of the third tier of governance required? ठीक है, national, state, उसके बाद local body. तो local body is third tier of governance. So why was it required in the first place? To make our democracy more participative. Okay, because national and state level development were not very inclusive in the way that people were not having a lot of say in the kind of development plans that were formed. Okay, to address that shortcoming, what was done? A third tier of governance where people will be able to form plan for their own development based on the resources and requirements of that area. Okay, but that was also put in the voluntary provisions, and that is why the local bodies have not functioned very effectively. Okay, again back to the scheme. So aim and goal क्या है? The first one is strengthening the capacities of institutions for rural local governance. Rural local governance में institutions कौन सी हैं? You do not need to like be a very rock star for understanding these things. Very basic understanding, like Lekpal, Tehsil, okay, all these institutions which work at the very ground level, ठीक है, village level, gram panchayats, all these institutions are the institutions for rural local governance. Okay, second is become more responsive towards local development needs. Okay, more responsive by how? More responsive by taking in inputs from the people as to what kind of development they want and what kind of resources they have. Okay, prepare participatory plans for leveraging technology and efficiently utilize available resources. That is, using technology to increase productivity, efficiency, and access to the services. Okay, these were the aims and goals of Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. If you look broadly, so RGSA has four basic elements. The first one is to enhance enablements of panchayats. Okay, all panchayats are being connected by National Optical Fiber Network. Okay, and now to make technology, the third point in the previous slide as we read, it is important that the panchayats are made they are connected with internet facility so that electronic delivery of services can be made easily and feasible. Okay. Convergence of existing schemes. Now, what is convergence of existing schemes? Convergence means there are a lot of schemes running like ICDS, Integrated Child Development Scheme, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, and this Manrega, and all these schemes have some specific social and economic goals. Okay? If all these schemes are converged means if all these schemes are aligned in one in a specific certain way, so that a holistic development takes place, and the development does not take place in silos. Okay? The holistic development means the development is interrelated, interconnected. Okay, that is why a very important point about this is convergence of existing schemes. Okay, the third point is strengthening the participative local governance. Strengthening participative local governance, how? I hope this is visible. Strengthening participative local governance, that is made possible by involving people into making the development plan for themselves, and we will look how this is being implemented in the scheme in the next slide. Focus on aspirational districts. Now, aspirational district scheme was launched in 2017. Aspirational districts are basically those Antyodaya districts, or those districts, 117 districts, which are very much lagging on the indexes or parameters of social and economic development. Okay? So the focus will be on these districts. Activities to be supported, national level, mission mode project on e-panchayats. Mission mode project, it is already ongoing project to connect all the panchayats through broadband and enabling all the delivery of services online. ठीक है, अब डिलीवरी ऑफ सर्विसेज कौन कौन सी होती हैं एक विलेज लेवल पे बेसिक समझने के लिए आपको एक विलेज जाके देखना पड़ेगा, एंड दीज आर लाइक बर्थ रजिस्ट्रेशन, डेथ रजिस्ट्रेशन, कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट एंड प्रोविजन ऑफ सच काइंड ऑफ सर्विसेज. ठीक है, उसके बाद incentivization of panchayats by recognizing such panchayats who are implementing RGSA effectively and providing them awards. National Plan for Technical Assistance, NPTA, National Plan for Technical Assistance, that is of course by providing them technical assistance, not only by providing them connectivity but also technical assistance through human resource and all. Okay? This is the national level activities, that is the central government will be providing these things. These are state components. It is not very important to look at all of them. Okay? If you want, you can pause the video and look at what kind of activities that are going on from state side. Essential conditions. Now, what this RGSA does? RGSA के अंडर में outcome based funding है. Outcome based funding मतलब if certain kind of outcomes are achieved, the state government will be provided with the funds by central government. Okay, for the compensation for achieving those kind of goals. Okay, so but there are certain conditions and we will be looking at those conditions. Not less than 1/3 of reservation for women in panchayat. Although it is a compulsory provision, but still it has been made a criteria for accessing funds under RGSA. The second one is Constitution of State Finance Commission. Okay, there it is. Although it was a very compulsory provision, but a lot of states have not regularly formed the State Finance Commission. Okay, a lot of states have not formed a State Finance Commission regularly. ठीक है, तो to improve that on that parameter, RGSA provides funding to state governments कि हम आपको पैसे दे रहे हैं if you are achieving a certain goal. ठीक है, it is incentivization by the central government to state governments to form a state finance commission every year. ठीक है, अब स्टेट्स क्यों नहीं फॉर्म करते हैं स्टेट फाइनेंस कमीशन? वन रीजन कैन बी स्टेट्स देमसेल्व्स आर डिपेंडेंट अ लॉट अपॉन सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट्स फॉर फाइनेंसेस. ओके, एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स के पास अपने डेवलपमेंट प्लान को इंप्लीमेंट करने के लिए उतना पैसा होता ही नहीं है कि वो डिवॉल्व कर पाए लोकल बॉडीज को. ठीक है, एंड इफ दे फॉर्म अ स्टेट फाइनेंस कमीशन, देन स्टेट फाइनेंस कमीशन विल बी प्रोवाइडिंग अ रिकमेंडेशन कि आप लोकल बॉडीज को इतने पैसे डिवॉल्व करो, एंड then that government will have to submit an ATR, action taken report, on the state finance commission's report in the legislative assembly of that state. To avoid all this, what states do, they do not form the state finance commission itself. Okay, उसके बाद constitution of district planning committee. ठीक है, now what is this district planning committee? It is a constitutional body. ठीक है, it is a constitutional body under article 243 ZD. ठीक है, इट इज अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बॉडी. अब डीपीसी क्या है? डीपीसी कुछ नहीं है, डीपीसी इज नथिंग बट, सी, दिस इज अ विलेज. ओके, दिस इज अ कलेक्शन ऑफ विलेजेस, and this is municipality. Municipality means basically municipal, the body governing the municipal area of the city. ठीक है, and these are villages within that municipality, मतलब within that district. What happens is all these villages provide plan for development. ठीक है, सारे villages ने अपना development plan भेजा. Okay, and the municipality also provides its own plan for development. Okay, what happens is, now DPC, district planning committee, it will analyze both of these plans sent by all these villages and the municipality, and then it will formulate a cohesive development plan, and it will send this development plan to state government. ठीक है, अब आप यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड, अगर ये सारे विलेजेस अपना डेवलपमेंट प्लान भेज रहे हैं बेस्ड ऑन देयर ओन रिसोर्सेज एंड नीड्स एंड रिक्वायरमेंट्स, एंड म्युनिसिपैलिटी इज आल्सो सेंडिंग, एंड देन डीपीसी एनालाइजेस दैट प्लान and makes one comprehensive plan for the whole district and sends it to the state government, and state government finances such plan, then how beautiful development will take place. So this was the provision, this is the role of DPC, district planning committee. Okay, so this is district planning committee. It is a constitutional body under article 243 ZD. Okay, I hope you understood. It just consolidates the plan sent by all the villages and the municipality and sends it to the state government. Now preparation and submission of detail, देखो तो यहाँ पे भी important point है, constitution of a DPC has also not taken place in a lot of states. So these were the points, or these were the issues that the local bodies were facing already. To address these issues, what central government has basically done, उन्होंने ये कहा कि चलो we will provide funds if you do address all these issues. And who will address all these issues? The state governments. And this is how RGSA is nothing but an incentivized plan for state governments by the central government to implement certain kind of reforms in the local bodies to make them more efficient, more self-dependent. Okay, this is the whole scheme.